everybody please stand for the pledge and prayer follow. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Stay rise for the prayer. Dear Heavenly Father, once again, we thank you for the opportunity to come before you and do the work of the people of this fine county that we live in. We just ask that you give us wise decisions and help us and guide us in our thoughts and our actions. We ask that you would be with the children, the teachers, and all the bus drivers and all of the people that have interaction with the kids at school, because we know the kids are going back to school this week or they went last week, and we just ask that you watch over the schools, the children, and all the people involved. We got fine schools in this county, and we just ask that you would watch over and bless the children. We come to you today, Lord, in a chaotic world that we live in. And as we were coming in today, there was rumors of the Middle East and complete chaos again. And we just ask that you would protect Israel, protect the countries over there, citizens, and just watch over and help wise decisions. We know that you can do that. In your Son's precious name that we pray.
Amen. Jeff, thank you for those wise words. I want to take this opportunity to remind people, as Jeff said in his prayer, the kids are back to school. The stop signs on buses are not suggestions. So please watch out for the kids as they're unloading and loading on school buses. Okay, special announcements and recognitions. Do we have any?
I believe we do.
Okay. Approval of previous meeting minutes.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, those minutes are approved. Okay, moving right into departmental business and reports. Our highway engineer supervisor extraordinaire.
Thank you. That's a good introduction. I just have one item today, and that is an irrevocable right to use real estate. This is a negotiation for some right-of-way that we have been purchasing for the Bridge 56 that we are hoping to get to bid by the end of this year. This was drafted and created by Alan and reviewed, and it's actually been signed by our grantee, the property owner. So I would request that we go ahead and approve this and sign it so that we can go ahead and file and continue that process.
And I know Mr. Allen, I know Mr. Wilson looked at that, approved that. I read through that. So any questions on that?
All in the emails.
Okay. So all in favor of approving that agreement? Or I'm sorry, do I have a
I'll make a
motion?
motion.
I'll second it.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, you have
Alright.
it for our signatures.
Amber, I want to thank you for your quick work on the bridge on Dixon Road. I was really just excited that you got that done in such a timely manner. Didn't get very many complaints like normal, and I thought you guys knocked it out pretty well. So
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it went very smooth. E&B Paving did a great job with that. Actually, quicker than we expected and under budget. So that's what we like.
We do appreciate that, but I also appreciate getting the notices sent out. You know, letting the people know on social media and news media, and so everybody can see that that was open.
Yeah, thank you. We worked with the city, and the city was fantastic about getting the word out as well. So I think that all helped. Good communication.
Thank you.
Thank you, Amber.
Thank you. Amber, anything else?
That's all I have.
Okay. Moving on to human resources.
Oh, there she is.
Hi, Gary.
Hello, hi.
Hello.
How are you?
We're good,
Okay,
I think. Are you going to tell us otherwise?
No,
Okay.
I'm not. I'm here to present the health services agreement for signature for the Kokomo Howard Wellness Clinic for employees.
I think this would be a great addition for our employees. And, appreciate all the work that you've done, the research, the data you sent us. That was great.
Yep.
So any questions for
No.
Carrie?
That look good.
Alan has reviewed it and does not have any issues with it.
And this is the first increase in that in the last, what, 3 years?
Yes, since 2020. Yeah.
Anything else? You ought to hear a motion.
So move.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor of approval of that agreement?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, that agreement is approved. Thank you, Carrie. So this just needs my signature. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Gary.
Okay, next we have, Carrie, anything else that you? Next we have Howard Haven. Jennifer?
I'm here just to get Harold Redden approved to reside at Howard Haven. He's a veteran, a Howard County resident, and will be a private pay.
How many residents we got now before? 18.
Lost one, passed away,
Mhm.
and then we have another one.
Okay. Questions for Jennifer? Motion?
I'll make a motion.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, that is approved. You need to sign it right down here. Jennifer, we appreciate all the work you and your staff do out there for the residents of Howard Haven.
Are you fully staffed, Jennifer?
Great. Only have one out right
Mm-hmm.
now. In good shape now.
Good deal.
Okay, thank you.
I know there's some people in the audience that do a lot of volunteering for you.
Yes, they're here
A
today.
couple of them, yeah. Mhm.
We do appreciate our volunteers out
Mhm.
there. so.
Definitely.
That is a great home out there,
It certainly
and to be able to be a part of it is really awesome.
Thank you.
She does a great job.
Mr. Sheehan.
Good afternoon. I have two subdivisions before you tonight. The first one is Moyer subdivision. It's a one-lot subdivision at 9915 East, 100 South, and there were no remonstrants at the meeting.
Okay,
I'll make the motion to accept Moyer subdivision.
I'll second it.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
That is approved.
Second subdivision is Scott Junior Addition subdivision. Again, it's a one-lot subdivision at 5481 South, 800 West. And again, no remonstrants at the meeting.
Do I hear a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
That is approved.
That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Greg.
Is there any new business to come before the commissioners? Hearing none. Claims and reports, salary claims.
$1,082,557.41.
Motion to approve is presented.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Salary claims are approved. Payroll expense.
$1,082,557.41.
Motion to approve is presented.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Operating claims.
$2,368,125.85.
Motion to approve is presented.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Those are approved. we have claims to ratify?
None.
Any monthly reports?
I have County Treasurer's monthly report, month ending 6/30 of '24.
Mark that received. Do we have any grants?
None.
Okay, thank you so much. Mr. Wilson,
I have one agreement between Turning Point and the Howard County Health Department for leased certified peer recovery specialists. This is an agreement that Mr. Dodd has signed. We just need to have his signature ratified.
I take a motion to ratify that signature. This is for Health Department to place a
Ongoing.
staff member in the schools for Turning Point.
Right.
Do I hear a motion?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second it.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
That's all I have.
I want to go.
Mr. Lipinski?
Nothing at this moment.
Okay.
Get back. I have nothing, Mr. President.
Do you have any public comments to come before the commissioners? State your name and address for us, please.
Hoyt Alexander, 512 South Hickory Lane. And my comment is about the issue going on across the street from me that I think probably all three of you, and I know our county attorney is aware of. There's a hearing tomorrow, a status hearing on what the judge may or may not do as far as trying to get the cleanup. I just want to make it aware, this has been going on for several years. There's been a judgment for over 2 years. At one time, it was actually the prior group of commissioners were concerned with some of the estimates that were coming in terms of getting bids to clean the place up. One thing is, I think it's time that, should we be fortunate and have the judge declare it's time to clean it up? I know there's some people interested in doing the work, but I think it should be immaterial what it ends up costing because it does go back on the taxpayer. As much as I don't want it to go back on Mr. Stevens, I know him very well. He was ahead of me in class, but I know him from school. But you know, we didn't do it. So in addition to that, I just wanted to make sure that some of you guys may be aware. I'm pretty sure Mr. Lipinski is aware of it. I don't know what pictures he showed the judge to convince him that he was cleaning up, but I showed Mr. Lipinski the judge pictures 2 weeks later, same shot, more stuff, 2 weeks later, more stuff. He just moves it around, says I'm cleaning it up, and then it comes back. I was informed that it should be advantageous to get as many community members to go to the meeting as possible. I won't tell you I agree with all the comments I got back, but some of them were, well, why should we have to go? That's what we pay you guys to do. Another one was, which I would say there is concern with, I show up and Mr. Stevens looks at me and now he's mad at me and he comes over and does something. That is a concern they have. But I would guess at this point, I would ask that if we are being asked as the citizens to show up, that all three commissioners should also go tomorrow and express concern that this has drug on long enough and encourage the judge to actually order the cleanup. I mean, the judgment's done. There was plenty of opportunity for the property owners to dispute or take care of the situation before a judgment was entered. But now the judgment entered has been long enough to take action and get it taken care of. It's just getting worse. It is a problem. And then again, as a general rule, we all saw the article in the paper. This one was named specifically, plus the farm that probably most people are here. It shouldn't be a farm, but it is. They're probably here for. It's kind of like, I'll give you the best example. The first house I ever bought on the strip out in Indian Heights, there wasn't a Christmas light in the entire street. My wife and I put a bunch up. 3 years later, all of them had them up. You're having the same problem happen in this area now in the reverse. This place becomes dilapidated, down the road gets one. We already know of a couple along Old Sycamore, so it just kind of grows in a negative way. So I just encourage you to go to the meetings as well and support the people that go there and try to encourage the judge and give Mr. Wilson a lot of luck in encouraging the judge to take take action this time and not just keep kicking. He's just kicking the can down the road and nothing's happened since, I believe it was in November when he said, I'll give you 90 days. Nothing happened. It actually gets worse. And then after the 90 days, he gave him another period of time, and then I think it was early May, gave him another one until this meeting, so it's just not getting any better, so I just want to make you aware of that. You gotta come
Need
up
to come up here and speak.
Yeah.
Boyd, I'm not sure that we'll have would necessarily have an opportunity to speak. It would be up to the judge to
That's
allow
correct.
that.
That's correct.
So I don't know. I mean, I go, sit there, may or may not have an opportunity to speak.
What was the purpose of the
Here's what
suggestion that
I-
we go?
Tomorrow is a motion for rule to show cause, which means Mr. and Mrs. Stevens are to appear and answer why they shouldn't be held in contempt for not obeying the court's order. Court ordered them back in September. It's not quite been 2 years. In September 2022, the court entered a judgment in the county's favor. Ordered them to clean it up. He's been back twice on these same motions. We have a different judge. The judge that signed this order has retired, so Judge Elkins is new. But each time, there's been no one there to say, well, this is really what's going on. Mr. Stevens comes and tells the judge, I'm progressing. I've had difficulties with my health. It's too wet to do anything, all sorts of things. The judge gives him another chance. As the attorney of record, I'm prohibited from giving any testimony, so I can't go in court and say, wait a minute, he's not cleaning this up. There's more there than there was before. I can't do that. So if anyone from the neighborhood wants to come tomorrow, I would encourage that. Now, having said that, I can't guarantee the judge is going to allow anyone to give any testimony. Ordinarily, in a motion for rule to show cause, that doesn't automatically happen. But if you show up, I'm going to ask the judge to allow some folks to say this is what the situation is and to give some testimony. So I would encourage any of you that want to, that have an interest, to come and give testimony if the judge will allow it. I believe he will, but I can't guarantee that. As for the commissioners, they really don't have anything to add. They wouldn't be able to come in and testify as to conditions of the property like the neighbors would.
Okay.
So I don't think.
I plan to be there, so unless something happens between now and tomorrow, that's my plan.
Glad to
I
hear
don't
it.
know how many will show up. I know that all of Spice Run is notified via email, and things were passed out throughout Devon Woods about them. And I've been surprised that some people have commented on some things that, you know, that I didn't know they were even paying that much attention.
I can tell you, if 10 people show up, the judge is not going to allow 10 separate people to stand up and say the same thing.
Yeah, well, after you hear them 2 or 3 times, you're like,
That's right.
you don't need 5 of us to come here and tell you it's been going on. And I will tell you, though, for the record, Mr. Stevens approached me in 2019, and I know it very specifically because it was at Northwestern Junior Olympics, and I remember because prior to COVID, when he shut everything down, before any of this happened, he said, hey, don't worry about this across the street, I'm gonna build a barn, and it's gonna all get better. And I mean, nobody even said anything about it. That's when it started. So we're going on 6 years now of problem, and it's not getting better. So I'll be there tomorrow. If you get a chance to, the judge lets you speak, I will speak.
Great.
Okay,
Thank
thank you.
You may have seen my red truck drive up and down your road in the neighborhood in the back. So I've been out there to personally look at it.
Okay. I would say that I've talked to Mr. Lipinski about that. I don't feel comfortable pulling on the property to take pictures. I don't think I should. But if the county has the legal right to, they need to get plenty of pictures of it and lay them in front of the judge and say, this is not getting better. But I can't go out there and do that. I just take it from the road, and it's hard to show how bad it is from the road. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, next one.
I have 2 comments about the
Can you give us
situation.
your name and address?
My name is Dan Macaluso. I live at 4609 North Parkway in Devon Woods.
Thank you.
Okay, any other information you need from me? Okay. I have a couple of comments. I wanted to ask, and I'm not a politician and I don't know all the ins and outs of the laws, but would there be some way we could prevent this from happening in the future with some sort of ordinance? I think there's probably not enough teeth in the law, and it's kind of difficult for you guys to take some action, although it looks like we're coming to some sort of a understanding about this whole situation. But I would encourage you, and maybe you'll throw it back to me, to take the initiative. How do we legislate some sort of ordinance to prevent people from just raising chickens and hogs wherever they want to?
There's already a state statute that deals with nuisances. nuisance is defined in the law as anything that's offensive to the senses, whether it be smell, sight, or whatever the case may be. So there's already a state statute that we've used in the Stevens case and in any other case like that. To answer your question, can we prevent this from happening? There's nothing we can do to prevent someone from collecting junk. All we can do after they do that, we can enforce the law. We're also working on a nuisance ordinance, which is more local in nature. That'll have the same effect as the state statute. It'll provide something that will allow enforcement and will undoubtedly impose penalties. But as far as being proactive, saying, okay, you can't do this, and you can't do that, that's not something that would ever work. It has to be, if you violate this statute or this ordinance, then we have a way of enforcing it. And ultimately, it depends on what a judge wants to do also. So we can go to court, tell the judge this is a violation, get a judgment as we have in Stevens, and then the judge may or may not give them additional chances or do things that we don't want the judge to do, or not be as strict as we would like the judge to be.
So are you happy with what's already in place to deal with these situations,
No,
or do we need further legislation?
I think a nuisance ordinance that we're working on now is probably a good idea. Will give us an extra incentive. The state statute doesn't allow us to impose any type of fines or penalties, but an ordinance would do that.
Okay.
State statute gives us a basis for filing a lawsuit.
Okay. Well, thank you for clarifying that. The other point I wanted to bring up was, I don't know if it's just adding additional information, but coming with all of this junk and everything, we also have a nuisance of vermin and animals, and it is not a healthy situation. So I just wanted to amplify all of the other things that Hoyt has done a wonderful job explaining. So I wanted to bring that up. So as long as that could be on the record, I would appreciate it. And I'm probably out of order here, but Hoyt and I have worked on a trail, Devon Woods, Spice Run, Mayfield, all that area there. There are no sidewalks, okay? And I've talked with Greg Sheeline, and he gave me the name of somebody to go for grants. But I was wondering if, am I out of order? Do I need, I'm not on your agenda.
Sir, you can say what you want.
You just accept me the way I am now? Okay.
We do.
Okay, well, what I would like to do as a community service, but I'm not a multimillionaire, so I can't fund the thing. I would wonder whether the commissioners, and maybe I'm at the wrong place, maybe it's the council that approves all the money, but I see an auditor here. Is there some way we can get some funding, and maybe I could have a drive around the community? I've done some work and gotten petitions signed. A lot of people would like to have this. It's dangerous to walk on the road. A lot of people like to walk. We have no, as I pointed out, we have no sidewalks. Also, if you're a cyclist and you want to go out on 22, or you go out from 22 to get back into the neighborhood, there's only one way. Very dangerous to cross 22 to come back into the subdivision. And so a trail going through, and we've already done some preliminary work with the YMCA, and of course, as you know, the YMCA does not own their property. It's on a long-term lease from a church. But I have talked to officials there, and they are afraid that people could be endangering the children, but if we route it a certain way with a fence possibly, and keep people from going on the Y property when there's summer camp there, that it would be a permissible thing to do. And the only other thing I haven't got done besides the funding is I believe it's the old Yeoman Stone Company. I can't remember the name of the place now. They own that property in the valley there that borders the creek. And it would maybe take an official to go to that company and ask them about the possibility of a trail. And that trail could cross Melfalfa Road and connect to Carter Street and give people access in a non-dangerous way to get into the city trail system. And I'm having difficulty finding funding because the governor's grants, although I did talk to Tyler Moore, our illustrious, our wonderful mayor, and he did say that maybe a new governor will approve more, but most of the funding available from the state is designated for the National Trail System, and this would not be part of the National Trail System. However, it would be a very good safety thing and a very good enhancement to not only Devon Woods, Spice Run, Mayfield, and all up and down Hickory Lane. And it would alleviate, somebody is gonna get killed crossing 22 and getting onto Old Sycamore Road. So I apologize for taking up all your time with this information, but I don't know where to turn next, and I want to get this done. Does anybody have any questions? I have a lot of documentation, petitions, and a lot of plans and so forth that I would be glad to share. I didn't bring that with me today.
Well, sir, you got nothing to apologize for, number one.
Thank you.
We appreciate the information. And I can echo what the mayor said. I talked to the governor's office about additional funding for trails. And right now, there is none, because I asked. I guess what I would, me personally, what I would encourage you to do is talk to Mr. Sheeline as far as our planning commission. What you're saying makes sense, but you know, as many times it's a lack of funding, not a lack of ideas. So that's where I would encourage you to go. And but right now, I know there is no state funding available.
Oh, okay. Okay. I do know I occasionally see some federal grants and so forth, and I don't really know how to go about. But there are people that professionally can do this in a much more efficient manner than I could. And but I would be very willing to put in the sweat and brow and encourage the right people to be involved in it to try to pull this off.
Any questions? Well, thank you for coming tonight, sir.
Thank you for hearing me.
Are there any other public comments?
Good afternoon. I'm Daryl Blossius, 115 North Hickory Lane. And I know we were here at the end of last month and just talked about the nuisance of our neighbors. Because everyone comes up to me and they just says, "Hey, Daryl, how you like living on the farm?" And I go, "I'm not really happy." And even since last month, at the end of the month, that farm has gotten bigger. What I'm saying farm is the fences are getting larger, they're getting longer, they're getting taller, they're getting more blankets, more umbrellas over the top of them. He did finish one part of a fence and he stopped, so that part at least he didn't go up farther to 22 because I had saw him out in the yard at one day and said, I was asking him about, isn't there some kind of an ordinance or do you have to get some kind of special permission about putting a fence up? He said, I just can't put an 8-foot fence up and I can do anything on my property I want to. And I said, well, you better think about that, because I said, taking a privacy fence all the way up to 22, I said, people come around that curve on 22, they are flying around that curve. And I said, if your grandmother gets in her car, pulls up to the corner and can't see around your fence to drive out and gets hit, I said, whose fault is it then? He said, well, but I mean, he's just got all these projects that he's starting in this yard, and it's gone from just like 3 turkeys and 8 chickens to now I think there is 10 pigs. There's the big ones and the little ones. We've got all these chickens. We've got all these turkeys. We've got the 5 goats. We've got the bunnies. We've got the ducks. It's just every day there's something new. There's a higher fence. And I'm just wondering, is there anything that we're going to be able to, I'm trying to be nice, but it's eating away at us. And it's also, like I said, he doesn't care. It's all about him and what he says he can do anything he wants to on that property. I just wonder, are we gonna be able to get any kind of a nuisance? Is there a limit on how many of those creatures he can have on that property?
Well, we can answer that.
Okay,
Would you like to answer?
I
that?
would. Mr. Sheeline and I met with these folks.
Okay.
What was it, a week or so ago? That was after I wrote them a letter telling them they were in violation of the zoning ordinance. Obviously, in a rural residential area, there are limits to the number of animals you can have and things of that nature. But they responded almost immediately, and we had them come in, they met us here, and we had what I thought was a productive meeting. What we explained to them and what they are doing, I believe, is they're going to apply to the Board of Zoning Appeals for a special exception. So they want to have, now that doesn't mean they're going to get it. I would encourage you to watch closely, because if they apply for a special exception, it'll be set for a public hearing. And I would encourage you and any neighbors there to appear, and you'll have a chance to tell the Board of Zoning Appeals what your opinion is about whether they should get a special exception or not. So my understanding is they understand that they can't do what they're doing, and they're going to try to go through the proper channels of applying for a special exception to the zoning ordinance. That'll be set for public hearing. You'll have a chance to come and state your piece, and then it'll be up to the Board of Zoning Appeals at that point to do what they think is right. I would encourage you to get as many people as you can, if you're in opposition to the special exception, to come and state that to the Board of Zoning Appeals and be ready to explain why you don't want that. Bring pictures, bring whatever evidence you want. That'll be your chance.
okay.
It's not up to the commissioners, it's up to the Board of Zoning Appeals at that point.
But in the meantime, we continue to work on this nuisance ordinance
Okay.
that Mr. Wilson was talking about.
Okay.
So,
And I know they've been out there also that because we're having the septic systems out there, and I know that I guess they've been on that, and there's already been 3 of the properties of the 14, I think it is, that's possibly it's going to be checked out on that. So I know, and that's a step, because like I said, it's so many times when I'm going out to my mailbox, the smell between all of the animals next door. Like I said, when he went from the 5 pigs to 5 big pigs to 5 little pigs also, and just keep adding to it, and it's like, I just got to cover my nose to even go to get the newspaper or the mail from the mailbox every day, and it's just, and like I said, if he just cleans something up as he's going, but he's not doing that. He said he doesn't have to. It's only him, and he's trying to do. So some of the other neighbors are here that all of us are just upset with what's going on. I just want.
but please understand, it's not that we're doing nothing.
Right.
But we have to operate within the confines of the law and the processes of the law, which our planning commission, Mr. Wilson, were doing that. So they've been notified, they've been given all the paperwork, how to apply for the BZA. So it's a process.
And how will that be? How will we know if that comes up for hearing?
You should get notice.
A notice in the mail, or?
Yes.
Okay, I'm just kind of curious on how we'll
It'll
know.
also be put in the newspaper.
Okay, okay. All right, thank you for your time.
Isn't there a sign that
There's a sign.
They did apply, they applied Friday.
they did
So
apply?
it'll be at the end of this month.
So isn't there a sign that's
Yes.
posted on the
There'll also
property
be a
as
sign
well?
posted on the
Yes.
property.
On the property there'll be a sign?
Yes.
Okay.
So, is there anything else, public comment wise, anything else from your group? Okay. Yes, sir.
In case you never met me, I'm Brad Simone from Eastern Howard County.
I knew that.
Good. So, first of all, can you repeat what you said, Alan, about the state nuisance law? What'd you say? It's what, no smell
Offensive to the senses.
and sight? Okay. So, you're gonna have some work cut out for you writing this county ordinance, aren't you? We're gonna have a million panels out my way to look at, and I'm sure we don't wanna look at them, so. Once again, that's something to consider in this ordinance. And Jack, you brought up at the last meeting about the Indianapolis airport. I drove down there, I looked at it.
Oh.
Indianapolis airport, yeah, you're right, they got a solar farm down, but you know it's not around them.
I was just down there the other day.
Well, you didn't see something though, did you? You didn't see any residences down there, around that. So that's the thing, see, where that's at, that's the proper place. Around people's homes is not the proper place. And now we
That
have,
was not the point of our discussion. You were talking about heat and
yep, the
other.
reflection. There's reflection from them, and that's when you said the Indianapolis airport, because I knew you was gonna say, there's no reflection, or they wouldn't have it by the airport. There's points south that doesn't track the sun like ours is going to, so ours is going to reflect. And like I said, I can drive you over Maple Crest anytime you want, the right time of
I
day.
was by there the other day too.
It was the right time of day. It's the right time of day, it's hard to drive through there because of the reflection. But, and then I still, are we working on those agreements for the property values?
Are we working on them? No, they're done.
The property value agreement?
Oh, the property value.
Yeah, because the deadline, I suspect to be September 10th, since that's when they said their start date is, even though they're not approved for anything.
I am not working on
I know,
them. Okay.
these guys said they were. But is that still the case, Jeff or Brad, or you still working on them, or we're not working on them? Let's be honest.
We absolutely haven't done anything for or against any of this at this point, as far as we can, I don't know what you want me to say, other than the fact that, yes, it's something we are considering. Yes, absolutely. And something that, I wouldn't say we're not working on them, but we have talked about it. Me and Brad have talked about it together, and I don't know how to say it.
Well, this is where I get aggravated, okay? Because I've been fighting this battle since January 2020, asking for all these things to protect me, to protect my neighbors, to protect my side of the county, to protect where we live. And time again, the county always protects their assets first. And the people that put them up there, well, we're talking about it. We're working on it. We're looking at it. But we're not doing anything. So once again, your assets are more important than mine and Stan's and anybody else that lives on Eastern Howard County, because you passed your resolutions to protect your roads, to protect your drains, and to decommission it. But when it comes to my property value and my well and everything else, no, we're still working. And September 10th just keeps drawing closer and closer and closer. And I have a feeling once that date hits, these agreements aren't in place, we're screwed. Bottom line, and it's not going to be fair. And Jack, you've told me before you like a fair playing field. Well, it's not a fair playing field right now. And for these guys, I hope they know what they're getting into, because it's not a fair playing field. You think about us when we went to BZA, our thing got denied twice, our special exception. So we replaced people on the BZA to make sure it passed the next time. So I just want these people to know this is the kind of stuff you got to look out for, because you might hear something that sounds right, but you better go with your gut and stand up for what you believe in, because nobody else is going to do it for you. That's all I got to say, guys. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any other public comments? Hearing none, seeing none, is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
I have a motion, a second. All in favor? Aye. We stand adjourned.